So, we are live. Hello. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our after party. The first episode, Season 2, Episode 1 of Talking Mando. I am joined by Paul in the top left-hand corner here. Always wonderful to have you, Paul. Underneath Paul is Geek Girl. Welcome, Geek Girl. And joining us, as always, my
had to get cake.
ever-present, always willing, bottom B, the Nev.
Am I bottom bitch?
Kind of.
Yep.
But
Are we twitching it or are we
just YouTube tonight.
YouTube.
Just YouTube.
Okay, I had Twitch on, so that's why I couldn't see us.
Gotcha. So welcome. Now, if you are a member of the Escape, Thad was wrong. Dang it. If you are a member of the Escape Pod cast patrons or Patreon group, then you
no, that's just Twitch subs.
Oh, just Twitch subs. If you are a Twitch sub for the Escape Podcast, not even a patron, my bad. Then you were just with us watching our live version, our live stream of the first episode of Season 2, The Mandalorian. Now, we didn't actually stream it, right? Because we're not pirates.
Me Speak for myself.
Yes, and so we put it on. We all timed it. It's pretty awesome. So if you want to watch with us next week,
Pop over, sub to the Escape Podcast.
Yeah.
You'll get the notification. We start the episode right at the top of the hour. I start a timer, so in case you don't know where we are, you can look at the timer, sync it up with your the way that you're viewing.
Yep. And
to
then
that timer, and you'll be following along directly with us.
Yes. Now, I gotta say, guys, this was a fun episode for me. Even though Paul is correct that I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. If you look over in Paul's screen, you see that I was mistaken. That was very wrong. Now, what was it? What we were talking about... Paul and I did a show a couple of weeks ago. We did a video a couple of weeks ago where we talked about Thrawn.
It was about Thrawn. Yeah, we were talking about Thrawn, and you said Timothy Oliphant was going to play Thrawn.
Yes. I very, very specifically said that not only would Thrawn be in Season 7, or Season 2, not 7. He might be in Season 7. We have no idea. That's years from now. But not only will Thrawn be in Season 2... but he will be played by Timothy Oliphant.
And what did we tell you, Thad? What did I tell you that he was going to be? And Paul concurred.
Paul and the Nev both agreed and concurred and said that the Nev would come in and he would be playing Cobb Vanth. The Nev, not the Nev. Timothy Oliphant would come in and be playing Cobb Vanth. Now, for those of you who don't know who Cobb Vanth was, he was introduced in the Aftermath series, starting off with just Aftermath, and then periodically through the other two books, there are these little asides between major chapters that explore essentially what happened on
Tatooine.
On Tatooine for Mos Pelgo.
Mm-hmm.
Mos Pelgo.
Not Peligro. Peligro was dangerous, but in Spanish. But Mos Pelgo. And so, Season 7 of The Mandalorian will feature Thrawn. Just saying. You're right. You're right there. It's possible.
Hey.
I mean...
if we get there.
I'd be okay with it. Maybe... Anyways. I was going to say maybe we'll see them at the Battle of Exegol. Just make...
Oh, don't start.
Anyway.
You're just blocking away from the fact that you were wrong.
I was wrong. Now, without actually saying what I will have to do, because I can't, right? And this is a great way to remind people that we do have one rule when it comes to this stream, and you must not mention the game that shall not be mentioned. Right?
I almost did it before we went live, and I was like, oh, wait, can't talk about it.
I almost did it the moment we went live.
What happens to people that mention it, though, Thaddeus?
If you
mention they get sent
to the naughty corner. If you mention the game that shall not be named, you will be sent to the naughty corner. You will not be allowed to participate in the conversation here on our live chat, nor will you be able to participate in the discussion like myself. So if one of us says it, we're locked out for 2 minutes.
Yep.
And so yeah, so we gotta be careful with that. So okay, first off,
what's your problem with Mario Kart?
Mario is conceited. I don't care for him. So with this, I gotta say, great first episode. Just right off the bat, what were your thoughts, guys?
It started out. It kind of felt like a mirror to me.
How so?
Because we had the your Dad, you're showing Discord again on the screen.
Am I?
There.
Oh.
Well, you were.
Oh, gotcha. Dang it. Sorry, I was sharing this to my guild.
Anyway, we had the whole beginning of the show where he goes somewhere crowded.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the bar in the first episode, and then this time he went to the arena.
The fights.
And then he wrapped somebody up by the legs and pulled him in.
So, Paul, with that, and then I want the rest of your opinions, but with that, Paul watches this on closed caption, and typically on these closed captions, they will give you more information than other. Did it say what planet that was on?
Did not say what planet it was on, but I believe it was Navarro.
Could it have been Navarro?
That would make sense.
That
I
was Banksy World. Because for some strange reason, everything was covered in graffiti in this tiny little niche place of the Star Wars universe.
Well, I mean, this is if it's the underworld, or if it's an underworld, an area with an underworld. I mean, graffiti makes sense, right?
I'm gonna say this: you live up there in nice little Illinois. Come to Houston, and you'll see graffiti pretty much everywhere, my friend.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it was as if like thousands of Sabine Wrens had just thrown up all over the walls of that town. You know,
is Sabine Wren the Banksy of the Star Wars universe?
Oh yeah, definitely.
100%.
That's awesome. Geeky, what were your thoughts? Just right off that, overall thoughts for the episode.
Honestly, I thought it was a bit of a filler.
Okay.
You know, he starts off trying to find more Mandalorians, and he doesn't really succeed in that. He just kind of goes, oh, okay, well, there's this problem here, and I have to do this by the code, so I have to stop and take care of this problem in order to do right by the code.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed a bit fluffy for a first episode. I would have liked a little bit more setup for the rest of the season.
Okay. Nev?
Okay, here we go. Right.
Bring it on.
Major fan service with this episode. Major fan service with this episode. So I was liking the fan service. You know, when I saw R5, I'm like, oh my God, it's R5. Oh, it's like, oh, you know, so I was instantly taken back to episode 4.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I see Boba Fett's armor, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Boba Fett's armor. Oh my God, it's Boba Fett's armor. So I'm then instantly taken back to episode 6 and Return of the Jedi, and the fact that obviously, you know, going off Star Wars lore, Boba Fett ends up in the Sarlacc pit. The Sarlacc can't digest him, spits him out, and obviously, you know, the Jawas have come across the armor, and that's how we got it. And then, obviously, the next piece of, fanfare was when they're on their speeders, and I'm like, oh my god, it's one of the pod engines from Anakin's Racer. So it's like, you know, give me some episode 4 fan service, give me some episode 6 fan service, and give me some episode 1 fan service, all within the first 20 minutes of this episode. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh, you know what?
You also missed one, Neil.
What?
You missed one.
No, I'm just talking about the first 20 minutes. What did I miss?
What did he miss?
The Krait Dragon bones that C-3PO walked by in A New Hope when he first landed on there. The Mando passed by him.
Did he?
I'd already been given. I already had my episode 1 heartwarming with seeing R5. So I'm instantly. So that fan service instantly puts my mind at ease. Instantly puts my mind at ease for the rest of the episode, and I'm just like, okay, that's it. I'm in. I'm all in. I'm along for the ride. You've pulled me in.
You've got me.
And I was happy. It had a beginning. It had a middle. It had an end. Wasn't thrilled with the beginning. I thought it was a little bit. It could have been smoother. Could have been a smoother transition. But, you know, the acts were all there. It had, a beginning, it had a middle, it had an end. Although, I must admit, there were a couple of things in there that irked me a little bit. But because I was given that fan service during the first 20 minutes, I was already feeling the warm fuzzies. So the warm fuzzies were there, and that's what made me comfortable with the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
It was fan service without being pandering.
Yes, it was. It was fan service without being pandering. It's like, oh, look. We're shoving the droid from episode 4 in your face that blew up. And it's like, no, they didn't shove. She just goes, oh, fuck, yeah, and that's it. And it comes on and it goes off.
It just had a bad motivator. It didn't blow up.
Yeah, exactly. All right, great.
Hold on. Let's not downplay R5's role. It didn't have a bad motivator. It gave itself a bad motivator, knowing that R2-D2 needed to go with Luke Skywalker.
If you're gonna spout conspiracy theories,
no, this isn't conspiracy.
Put your tin hat on.
This is not a conspiracy theory. In the book, from a certain point of view, right? One of which retells episodes. It'll be 4, 5, and 6. In the book, episode 4. A New Hope, it actually, that perspective, when they're in the Jawa the Jawa sandcrawler, you have R5 having this communication with 2 new droids coming in, the C-3PO and R2-D2, and as he's being, sold to Luke, or about to be sold to Luke, he feels like the Force or something. And he sacrifices himself so that R2 can then go to Luke. Like, it's canon.
Okay.
Canon. I don't know how much canon, but it's
new canon.
New canon, yeah. But it's in the book, which is a phenomenal book.
Yeah. The audiobook's even better.
Oh, so good. So good. The second one comes out for Revenge of the episode 5, whatever, I forget the name, comes out on the
Empire.
10th. Thank you. And I'm excited. I've been trying to get my hands on an advanced copy of it, and the publishing company won't return my emails. So
good luck with that.
I know. I'll have to be like everyone else and just go buy my copy. So I've already got it pre-ordered on Audible. I want a physical copy though too. So no, I love the fan service. Go ahead, Paul.
It's what you described is new canon from the book, a certain point of view.
Yes. Yeah. And so, like, here's the thing. Like, I liked the episode. There wasn't even at the very end when Boba Fett returns, when Tamora Morrison is shown, There were no.
Geez, you just gave away the very ending of the.
Oh well. I'm reading JJ's. Well, I've got to entice him somehow, JJ. I got to get him anyways. But the idea is like I've gone through and
your best slave Leia.
there was I don't look so great in my slave Leia costume, geeky. I mean, I'm more
Not
like
many can pull it off.
I know. I'm more of the Jabba in that situation, but anyways, like there was no like giddy moment for me throughout this episode. Nothing like, oh, like it was just well done. It was just a solid space western story to me. And I love that. I love that they can tell these stories in I don't know, it was a fun story. It was simple, it was straightforward, and it told a story without being too convoluted, without losing the thread of the story, and without, in my mind, without losing the audience. I was really engaged throughout this. I really enjoyed it.
I did have a moment.
Yeah.
When he was camping with the sand crawlers when he first started out on the bike.
That was pretty cool.
Or the sand people, the Tuscans.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm curious though, when he does say I've been on Tatooine, he said I spent a lot of time on Tatooine. I'm very curious to know how many other times he's been back.
Yeah, there's a backstory there that we need to know.
Yeah,
because he is fluent in Tuscan.
Yeah, he is very fluent in Tuscan. I mean, that's very impressive. Like I just could yell. I thought in the first episode we just see him doing the hand gestures, like the first time we see him on Tatooine. This time he is speaking to them, and so he's gone back. Right between season 1 and season 2, he's gone back, and there's got to be more there, right? Was he chasing Boba Fett? Was he chasing the stuff? Was he chasing the Jabba's empire? Right? Something from that. I don't know. I mean, there is a book coming out, but it's not coming out till this time next year. Which
really?
I thought it was tomorrow. But it's not. It's coming out this time next year, which is really disappointing. But it is coming out, so I'm very curious to know. And it is supposed to be like an original standalone tale for following Din Djarin. So, all right.
Do we know if it's pre or?
We don't know anything. There's nothing that's been said so far about the book yet. They've announced the author. They announced the date. That's roughly it. So,
you got a point, JJ. And it very well could have just been he was there meeting up with Boba Fett.
Yeah.
As well.
And it could have been like one of the things that was interesting to me about this was that opening scene, I think, did give us a lot of backstory as to the Mandalorian, right? You have John Leguizamo, who is the voice of, I forget his name, Karth Onasi. That's clearly not it. I forget what it was called.
Gor Koresh.
Gor Koresh. Thank you. I wasn't super far off with Karth Onasi. Just a few thousand years maybe. But you've got Gor Koresh, and he says the value is going up of the armor, the Beskar, which means it's not being made. Now we know that the value was high before, right? Because that was the big thing, right? But then he said he's been collecting the armor. So I'm curious I'm curious what's been going on with the Mandalorians, right? Because if the armor is going up in value, it's scarce or scarcer. And the one thing that this episode did focus on was the armor. That's the whole purpose of the episode. Is Mando gets there, he's like, I need that armor back. I mean, yeah, he was there to get the other stuff too, but he's there to get the armor back. And so I'm curious if they're going to spend more time with that this season.
Well, they established that a lot in season 1 when they talked about how much the Beskar was useful for, and the fact that it was so scarce, and the fact that they needed so much to make a full set, and then still have enough for the foundlings to get their start, you know. So there's been kind of precedent established of how much they need this and how much they don't have of it, especially since the Great Purge.
Yeah. And so, what are your thoughts, Nev?
I think that I don't think that there's that much time between. I think the backstory is before season 1. It's not between season 1 and season 2.
Okay.
I mean, he's not a Ray, so it's not like he could just snap his fingers and learn a language. Okay,
Yeah.
This is directed by Jon Favreau. It's made by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, not Jar Jar Abrams, and not Brian Roundhead Johnson. We've actually got real people making this TV show. So for him to just learn the language between season 1 and season 2 doesn't make much sense to me. I think that what we're talking about here is previous jobs, previous time spent on Tatooine, either that or time spent during his childhood around Tusken Raiders. But it's before season 1 where he's learnt the language. And so I don't think there's been any interaction between him and Boba on Tatooine as of yet. Okay. But he's recognized that his Mandalorian armor, the Marshal doesn't, Cobb doesn't belong with the armor. And he's just being, a proud Mandalorian demanding that, the armor be returned. Because he wants it to be worn by a true Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So I want to point out that StarWars.fandom.com does have that. Speaking of Jon Favreau, he wrote the first 4 episodes of this season.
Really?
That makes sense.
I thought he only wrote the 5th one. That's interesting, though.
No. Dave Filoni.
That's where that's where my mistake was. So I was wrong again, Paul. Thank you for
just stop being wrong. Okay.
I am a married man in America at this point. There's no way I can be right.
Ever.
I gave up the right to be right when I got married. I'm always wrong, and I'm just perpetually living in that state. Okay. So, but see, there was one other thing that John Leguizamo said that triggered me, or triggered a memory in me. It didn't actually trigger me, but I can't remember what it was. It was
didn't good job of triggering you.
No, it didn't. It didn't stay. I don't know. I haven't had enough caffeine, I guess.
What you got, Geeky?
Interesting point. So I just pulled up IMDb to kind of verify. According to them, Favreau and Lucas wrote all 17 episodes.
Oh.
With 2 being written by Filoni and Rick Famuyiwa, and then 1 being written by Christopher Yost last year.
Interesting.
George. I don't know if that's just from him having story ideas, and so they credited him. I know he was involved with production on the first season. I assume for the second season because there's numerous set pics of him being there. So it wouldn't surprise me.
I will say one of the things that's interesting about this and the state of the galaxy at this point. See what I did there? Without actually saying it. They've brought
You're cutting it close.
They've brought Lucas back as a paid advisor.
Yeah.
And that's, first off, I mean, a baller move. I mean, we've said this before. He sold the rights, and then they brought him back and paying him to make it not suck. I mean, that's...
So how many episodes has George Lucas co-written with Jon Favreau?
Okay, stop.
17.
The writing credits are simply based on Star Wars by. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not written by.
Fan fiction. For a second there, I thought we were going to be talking about an actual Star Wars episode.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Fan fiction.
We're getting there, Nev.
Close. We're so close to being back.
All right. Okay. So we get off right before. I've got to ask, what were the red-eye creatures?
Evil Jawas.
Wildcats. No.
It's Jawas. It's how they actually feed. That's why they wear the cloaks during the day, because at night they take them off and they eat flesh. You never see.
No, they eat Koresh.
Ah, wonderful. Now I'm thinking of David Koresh, which is a whole different. Anyways,
Well, it's still played by Timothy Oliphant, though.
is he?
On the Netflix show, he was.
What? No, that wasn't Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Who was it then?
Some random guy. It was a
Some
good show,
random
though.
guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was a good show though. Anyways, so we move off, goes to Tatooine. We get the adorable droid spaceport lady. I'm glad she's back. She was a cool character. I like her personality. Amy Sedaris. I love her little connection with Baby Yoda. I think she's wonderful. And it is so cool to see those little, I don't even know what they're called, the mechanic droids, just keep popping up from time to time. Those are some of my favorite, like, episode 1, what do you call those, like, comic relief characters. I love those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Love those guys. And it was cool to see them. Pit droids. Yeah, the pit crew. It was cool to see them. It was cool to see R5 and then to get the speeder bike. Now, Paul, with the speeder bike, I've got to say, the last time we were on Tatooine with the Mandalorian, you had an issue with the graphics.
Okay, so this is not how you're supposed to have graphics, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't have as much problem. Hang on. It has to be the Titanic way. They both have to be on the speeder bike. There we go.
Thank you.
It didn't bother me as much. It was improved.
Okay.
You know, this time instead we had this for the speeder bike. You know, it actually had some movement on the ground. Before, it was just straight across.
Did it bother anyone
You're not
else?
wrong.
No, didn't bother me.
Yeah. It didn't bug me. I
I'm
did.
just picky about my CG, that's all.
I don't blame
I
you.
mean, I get it to a degree, but the thing that they're doing is they're spending most of their budget on those virtualized backgrounds where they're doing big green screen shots and everything else is live action.
Yeah. And
Big green screen's cheap as chips. They're doing it wrong.
this isn't green screen though. This isn't green screen the way that they're doing. It's really an impressive. They're doing a virtual environment where they actually live shoot the scene onto a multiple video or multiple TVs, and the person interacts with the environment, and so it's like a dome of sorts that they do it in. It's really fascinating. And it's
The Thunderdome.
yeah.
Yeah, basically.
It's really, really cool. It's not like the traditional green screen that we've seen that like here I'm using in the back and geeky. I'm assuming that's not the real Baby Yoda behind you.
I mean, I wish. I do actually have the pop sitting next to me, but this is Zoom's
Gotcha.
doing. My green screen is on order.
Yeah, my I've got a green screen here in the back,
Right
and
there.
and I've got some carpet stapled to my wall, which
Mine's right there. Got the other side right there.
but yeah. So, but like it's way more interactive, and it's really a cool technology that I want to say Jon Favreau kind of pioneered and or ask Miss Nerdy about the carpet.
I mean, there are better sound paneling that you can get.
That's true. And I have better sound paneling. I just had extra carpet that I was like, I'm gonna staple that to the wall.
And you got in trouble for it.
And I got yelled at for it. I don't necessarily think she's wrong.
Don't get yelled at.
I know. Okay, so we are going to Tatooine. We see him traveling across the desert. He finally makes it to Mos Pelgo, aka Freetown, which I gotta say, this is not the way I imagined it from. This is not the way that I imagined it from the books, from Aftermath. In my mind, I imagined like kind of a more sprawling city, more akin to Mos Eisley, or something that had kind of an outer wall. This was very sparse, and
yeah, like it was ripped off Firefly.
Yeah, I've heard.
I'd say that, or it reminded me of that episode from, I think it was Rebels or Clone Wars, where they crash onto the planet where it's nothing but like salt. It's not great, but where I can't remember what episode it was. I think it might have been Clone Wars.
The game that shall not be named Web Forums? What?
Yeah.
No. Where they were walking forever and they came across this fairly sparse village thingy that they then couldn't leave. It might have been Clone Wars.
I could see that being it doesn't sound familiar for Rebels, and it's been a while since I've seen all of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched all of Clone Wars. It was early. I think it was like, it might have been Rex and Ives, maybe?
I can see
somebody will know and correct me. I'm
Yeah.
sure of it.
Yeah. But like, I thought it was really cool. It still had the thing. And this is where I come. What I liked about this. This is in my mind what my parents felt like when they were watching Gunsmoke for the first time, right?
Yeah.
It was very Western, right? You walk in, you got a desolate town that's got a problem of sorts, but it's not necessarily clear what the problem is. And it's I don't know. It was cool to see him walk in to see a Weequay. I gotta say that one of the things that makes me very nervous about this show, and it's the thing that I love about it, is it's the inclusion of additional aliens. It's not something that we have seen a lot in the live action movies. We haven't seen a ton of aliens. We haven't seen a ton of anyone but humans or humanoids, because it's easier, probably less cost effective, or more cost effective.
Holdo's an alien. Holdo was an alien. You think that purple hair is just dyed?
Well,
yeah.
Why would an admiral dye her hair purple? I mean, come on, she has to be an alien. That purple hair has to be natural.
She's a rebellious alien.
Yeah.
I mean,
cool.
hey.
Yeah.
I mean, and
admirals
do it if
care
it were
about
class.
making their hair purple. They're not just it's not just alien.
That's true. But
she really loves the color.
Or she just really loves the color. Yeah.
So
maybe Leia picked it out for her.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, Leia didn't get married, so maybe she and Holdo had something going on. I don't know. Very possible. We'll see. What was I gonna say?
More aliens.
More aliens. Yes.
Yeah.
The danger with that, though, is making them lifelike. You know? And, like, in the last season, aside from the hissing, one of the things that bothered me about the Twi'lek was it felt like that headdress was about to fall off. You know? And I like it felt out of place. When we first saw the Twi'lek, the purple Twi'lek here, I was like, all right, that's a little better. I like the makeup. They do a good job. But then seeing the Weequay, I was like, okay, that's a straight Weequay. That's not an actor playing that guy. That they traveled to a distance. Like, I believed that. I was like, that is not makeup. That is that dude. That is who that dude looks like normally. Or maybe the actor just has like giant calluses all over his face and bones coming out. Maybe that's what happens if your wisdom teeth are never removed. They form Weequay style. I don't know.
That's terrifying.
That would be terrible. Yeah, that would be terrifying. I had to show my daughter what an X-ray looks like of a child, and if you've ever seen a child's X-ray, it is. Or a child's skull, which is in a very darker. Yeah. It is terrifying because you've got the extra teeth. Oh my gosh! But like that's, I saw that Weequay and I was like, that's legit. That is awesome. They've always had the droids on par. They've always been great for me. But the aliens, from time to time, I don't know. It's off. But like, this was awesome. And not just a Weequay, but like a chubby Weequay, which I feel comfortable and connect to. I'm like, I love it. I freaking love it.
Although I like the Weequay, I didn't like the skinny Gamorrean guards in the ring. That was another thing. I was like, really? Gamorrean guards are supposed to be like, you know, waddling little big things. And these guys, it's like, oh, we'll just put really big furry nappies on them. Yeah. But we'll just paint the skin of a couple of guys and put. It's like no. Full body prosthetics for Gamu guards, and then put them in the ring. But no, they skimped. They went skimpy on the costumes.
And I will say that I wasn't as bothered by the Gamorrean guards because those were some of the early images that we'd seen teased. And so I guess I'd kind of prepared. Paul, geek girl, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, honestly, I've seen better makeup and prosthetics within the films, but they also have a budget of $500 million, or more, depending on which film it is. So the fact that they only had about $10 million per episode, probably 90% of that was spent on CG and effects. It actually wasn't that bad, you know. I've seen worse. I've seen worse. Have you ever seen something like the CW DC TV shows?
Those are all terrible. I
mean, that first, nice JJ. That first, you know, some of those costumes in the early days were bad, but this wasn't so bad. And Discord is going insane. Anyways. But yeah. I mean, honestly, like, the Gamorrean guards were on par with what we saw in episodes 4 and 6.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too bad.
The heads were.
The
From
Twi'lek,
the neck down, it wasn't anything like a Gamorrean guard.
That's fair. The Twi'lek wasn't too bad, but it wasn't like perfect.
Yeah.
But some of the other ones that they did, and especially the Tuskens, were spot on. So it could be better.
All right. So I loved all the costuming, to be honest with you, in this. But I have your fun fact of, holy crap, I can't believe they did that for you for this week.
Is it Mark Hamill? Did he show up?
It is not Mark Hamill. It is an actor by the name of W. Earl Brown.
Okay.
W. Earl Brown played a character named Dan Doherty.
Okay.
Dan Doherty was the bartender in the show Deadwood, starring Timothy Oliphant.
Really?
Interesting.
Dan was in it? Oh my god. What character did he play? I love Deadwood. Was one of my favorite shows.
Timothy Oliphant played. Timothy Oliphant was in Deadwood.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking you, what character did Dan play? The barman. I know who Dan is. I know who
Earl Brown is the name of the actor who played Dan Doherty, who was the barkeep in.
What did he play in this episode?
What?
I'm asking what he played.
Was he the barkeep as well?
He was the Weequay barkeep.
Oh, he was right. Okay, not easy. Obviously didn't recognize him, but yeah, now I know who he is. Yeah.
So the barkeep.
Excellent character.
Was the barkeep in this episode was the barkeep
from Deadwood.
In Deadwood.
Yeah. So that's cool. So that's cool. And we'll get to him in a sec because So they were about to go out, they get to the bar, right? Barman introduces them to the Marshal, right? Which is cool. I love him being called the Marshal. You know, love that, right? Again, flashback to like old Western style stuff. There's about to be that moment.
Flashback to Deadwood because he was a Marshal before he went to Deadwood.
There you go.
I mean, Deadwood, Magnificent Seven, all of those old school westerns.
Oh yeah, which is a lot of what, George Lucas pulled his stuff from. It was old westerns, it was old spaghetti westerns, it was like old samurai movies. Like a lot of those concepts were pulled in, and so it's cool to see them being brought back here in this moment, right? Then we go off and we have we're about to see the fight, which would have been awesome. All right, I'm not sure who would have won, right?
Oh, come on.
I'm not. I mean, sure, it would have been Din Djarin, but it would have been the Mando. But I gotta say, again, it was that moment, and I think this is gonna come back. He takes the helmet off, immediately knows this is not who this is supposed to be. This armor, the removal of the helmet, that whole concept is going to get played up. I think we are going to see a lot more of that backstory about what happened to the Mandalorian people throughout this season.
I think that there's more to that because we did see the bullet impact in Boba's helmet.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know how that got there. And they kind of focused on it when the helmet came off. And I did go back and look in Empire Strikes Back or in Return of the Jedi, and the helmet did not have any bullet damage.
Really?
Oh no! I mean, I know it's. I mean, if you'd like Occam's razor, I'll tell you exactly how the bullet fit in the helmet.
One of the Tuscan raids that he defended against is the
no. It would have been. It would have been. You know, we know that because the bullet was in the head when the Marshal, when Cobb saw the armor when he was in the Jawa's vehicle, right?
What was it? Okay, I didn't look too closely at that point.
It was okay. So the simplest explanation is usually the correct one. The Jawas saw the armor in the desert. They thought it was a real person. They thought it was a Mandalorian, so they shot.
I'm gonna say
that's possible.
Oh, hold on.
And they realized that there wasn't, a body in it. It was just abandoned. So then they took the armor. But they didn't know that there was nobody in it at the time, obviously. They didn't realize that there was anybody in it at the time. It was just, there lying in the desert waiting for them to steal. And they see the helmet and they're like, oh, quick, shoot it. They shot it, thought it was dead.
Okay, why does yours have a...
So I got this from Disneyland 7 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it's in the flashback scene, Ando.
Yeah, and so you've got this. You do have the dent. Now he did have a targeting thing, but life happened, and now it's gone. But like I want to say that I've always known Boba Fett to have that little dimple on the top of his head. And so I don't think that's new.
I mean, maybe.
I don't think there's anything to it.
No, I don't.
I don't think there's any big story arc or anything to it. I think it's just there for the, it's there because it's there.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought is, and I don't know. I don't think it's a major thing necessarily. Yeah, I'm looking at. Let me bring it up real quick.
Yeah, I'm looking at pics too, and he had the dent from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think it was done in
Like
an
right
effort
here.
to say this guy's gone through some stuff.
Yeah, and like maybe not when we see him in like other episodes like Star Wars, Clone Wars, and stuff. But I'm pretty sure that we've seen him with that before. Yeah. But anyways, so we see the backstory. We see him saving the bartender, coming back and protecting everyone. We're introduced to the idea of the Sarlacc. Now, not Sarlacc, Krait Dragon. Now, what are your thoughts on the Krait Dragon? Let's go, Geeky. What are your thoughts here?
I mean, honestly, it seemed like a means to an end for them to do something and like to get everybody together to do something about something. But it felt just like a bigger version of the snake from Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
I I get it, but it didn't really do anything for me.
All right. Nev, what are your thoughts? No, you're good.
Discord.
You're good.
My initial thoughts were, oh my God, here we go again. They're rewriting Star Wars lore. Sarlaccs don't go. And then he mentioned that it was a dragon. And I'm like, okay, I suppose, yeah, nothing wrong with making it a Krait Dragon. Yeah, crack on.
All right. Paul, any feelings against the Krait Dragon?
I mean, I thought that it was, it had feet.
Yeah, not just a lizard or a snake of sorts. So
a giant version of a Komodo dragon would have been cooler.
Yeah. So when I see Krait Dragon, I think of like some of the bones that I've seen in like Star Wars: The Old Republic. Like anytime you saw a dragon there, it was always like big wings, and like I just assumed that. The head though is exactly what I would have thought, and so for me, the fact that it didn't have like that it had like the snake body or looked like one of those weird rock creatures from Pokemon, didn't necessarily bug me super.
That's Onyx, sir.
Thank you, Onyx, rock creature. You knew what I was talking about. So that didn't bug me like I was afraid that it would have, like, and then I've been thinking about this because I did read a spoiler Friday. I was really upset with myself. And they talked about Krait Dragons, and I was like, okay. And so I looked it up, and I was like, okay, I got it. That's what I'm, what was that? Anyways, gotta say, I was a little worried when they first introduced it by, swimming in the ground. It felt to me very much like Tremors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was worried that Kevin Bacon wasn't going to show up. Because if it's Tremors, you have to have Kevin Bacon or that old rednecky guy who looks like the country music star Aaron Tippin. Most people don't remember him, but like,
I think, to be honest with you, Thad, I think that they put it in the ground because it's just easier for CG than having a full-sized, walking, roaring dragon, head to tail in every single shot. It's just easier to stick head out of the sand.
Yeah.
And honestly, you could do a lot of that sand effect practically.
That's
it
true.
would take some work to set it up, but you could do it practically.
That's true. And they have done a really good job of mixing the practical with the CG. And I do really appreciate that, because it does pull you more into the episode. It pulls you more into the story. You're not pulled out because someone's crossing a desert and it doesn't look like they're actually doing it. So, now.
Well, and that's filmmaking 101. The more that you can do practically, the more that you can do naturally, the more you're going to be able to get people to do that this suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
To believe your CGI, whether that be visually, audioly, whatever.
Yeah.
It just works better.
Yeah, no, and I agree. So they go to the Jawas, they make the whole scene. I love the dog scene where we see Mando, chatting, and the dog walks up to him and he's like, "Oh, I love belly rubs." It would have been cooler if the dog just rolled over on his back and was like kicking his leg. I mean, I think that would have been fun. Maybe I'm the only person, but they go back, and you can tell the frustration between these two groups. The Tuskens have been raiding the mines. The miners have killed the Tuskens. There's a lot of frustration going on here, and one of the things that I was really my first thought when they're all like, yeah, the Tuskens are bad, the Sand People are bad. My first thought was, they took our jobs. I wanted someone to yell that during that scene, because I feel like it would have been way more fitting. I don't know, just me being stupid. But what do you thought? What were your thoughts on like that little section of the episode, like from the dogs to the introduction of the combined group to fight?
I liked. I did like the fight between Vanth and the Tuskens around the campfire before they went back.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. And we did have all the it was a fun montage, but to me it was the town hall meeting, like, this guy has this, he wants this, I got this, we have to work with the people we don't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
It very much reminded me of that scene in episode 1 where it's like, we form a symbiotic relationship. What affects one will affect the other.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jar Jar.
Yeah, you're welcome. And to talk on Dickie's point just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they went and somehow scavenged Annie's pod racer and then turned it into a speeder bike is one of the most lovely things and one of the most lovely Easter eggs I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was cool. I loved that. Was neat. He's riding a giant engine, which super cool.
Makes it a speeder bike.
Maybe slightly overcompensating, but
yeah, I was gonna say there's some innuendo there for sure, but using another man's armor, riding a giant phallic symbol through the desert, It
is also like the sports car of bikes.
Yeah,
it's the Lamborghini.
It's his midlife crisis. All right, now what do you think? What are you thinking, Nev?
Classic common enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Classic common enemy scenario. Two warring factions, and there's a much, much bigger, badder thing out there that needs to be taken out, and it can only be defeated if the two warring factions come together to defeat it.
Yeah. Yeah, which, I mean, is a lot of Star Wars, though. I mean, a lot of the rebellion is people fighting their own fight and coming together to overthrow the Empire, then overthrow the whatever. So his was bigger than Mando's.
I mean, but Mando's got a bigger gun.
That's true. Mando was definitely more potent, I think, with his weaponry.
And just think of it as somebody buying a Hummer.
Yes, that's what it is.
The H2, not just the regular one, the H2, the gigantic one.
The one that's not supposed to go off-road, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or get dirty.
Even though it looks like it should go off-road.
Yes. All right, then we see the fight, and then it comes up to that final battle where they're doing, I guess the last 20 minutes of the episode is essentially them trying to fight the Krait Dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I loved the patience. First off, I loved that they kept eating, this Krait Dragon kept eating the Tuskens because they were running straight. This is why you never run straight
Steve.
when someone, R.I.P. Steve. Whenever something is chasing you or a tree is falling, don't run with the tree. Take a step out of the way. You know? There's no way that Krait Dragon would have been able to catch him if they just ran to the right or left. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have happened. You know? When the Bantha gets brought up as first, what are when it's first brought up, they're like, we're feeding it. It doesn't go after the Bantha. It goes after the guy running away. Had he just ran to the side, I don't know. It's
zigged when he should have zagged.
Exactly.
Seems a bit like a T-Rex where its vision was based off of movement.
Which makes sense because it's underground and it's probably connecting the vibrations and stuff. So, anyways, so the fight. They drag him out, and when they're trying to, it felt weird to me that the Mando and Cobb are doing nothing initially to get the Krait Dragon to come out. They're not firing at it. They're just standing there watching. I mean, I know that they're going to set the detonation, but I feel like they could have done a little more.
Well, honestly, I mean, I get why they put it in the ground, but it's the firecracker scene, you know? If you leave your hand open and you light a firecracker, it's going to burn your hand, but if you close your fist around it, you're going to be eating with your other hand for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they didn't just throw it in the bantha to begin, and have him eat it and then blow it up. It seemed like a much more effective use of explosive.
I was trying to call that.
Yeah, it seems like a much smarter move, you know?
Probably because they didn't want to rip off Tremors too much.
Yeah,
It's like, look, we have to try and kill the sandworm that comes out from under the ground a different way than getting it to eat explosives. Because if we just get it to eat explosives straight away, everyone's going to go, Tremors did it first. So we need to try and kill it another way. And when that way fails, then we'll feed it explosives and people won't go, Tremors.
Oh,
yeah.
Speaking of feeding it explosives, right before that was another Easter egg.
Was there?
Han kicked Boba Fett's jetpack.
Oh,
yeah.
That was
Mando
cool.
Bashed the jetpack to get it to take off.
That was, and it's the same jetpack. If that jetpack ever makes its way back to Boba, then he really should consider getting a different one. Because
clearly it's faulty.
Well,
yeah, there's something wrong with it.
I wonder who the manufacturer of that jetpack is.
I'm gonna say
Mandalorian.
I want to see if there's a warranty.
Yeah.
Yes, seriously.
Can you imagine
The
Boba Fett on the
definitely expired.
Yeah. Look, you got eaten by a Sarlacc. That voids the warranty.
Yeah. The stomach, the stomach acid from the Sarlacc is going to, null and void all the warranties.
But there is film evidence. There's video evidence of that jetpack malfunctioning because somebody bumped into it.
Tesla. I could see Tesla making that. Just give him a few months. It'll be on his list, I think.
I'm sure.
I mean, they got to get around in space somehow, right? What better way than
I mean,
jetpack?
jetpacks do exist.
Sure.
Made a
there is
flamethrower.
Yeah, there is a part of the pararescue.
Oh, is there really?
Air Force. Yeah, there are very, very few, but they do have them. They're
Interesting.
just not available for the public. The
It was a
military has everything that
Z6
we don't know
jetpack,
about.
according to Wikipedia.
The government has all the best things.
They created the hoverboard, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Seriously. I'm actually listening to a book about aliens, so I'm like,
I have the name of them.
Oh, what are they called?
Mitranaman Transports creates the Z6 jetpack,
Interesting.
used by Django and Boba.
I was gonna blame it on Sinar. I feel like they have a hand in that somehow, but maybe not. But Sinar.
Wayland Yutani.
Wayland Yutani. Man, they ruin everything. This is why we can't have nice things. Also, where the world's going.
This is where we can have nice things. They gave it a name. West End Games gave the manufacturer of the jetpack a name, and Star Wars put it into the Ultimate Star Wars reference book in 2015.
So it is officially canon.
It's officially canon.
Cool. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so they do Boba, Den, the Mando kicks off Boba Fett, Cobb Vanth, he goes flying. I didn't hear the scream. Was it in there?
I don't think
the
so.
Wilhelm scream? Because it should have been. I really think that was a missed opportunity.
Ah!
Ah! I mean, whatever. I can't do it, obviously. But I feel like that could have been a really good place for that scream. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, that would have taken me out of it.
Too much fan service, maybe?
Too much fan service.
Okay. All right. Well, Mando gets eaten. He gets et. And the worm suffers explosive indigestion and vomits up the Mandalorian.
No. The Mando shocks his way out.
That's true. He shocks his way out, which was awesome. I will say that scene when he was flying out, the CGI, whatever that was cool, right? You see the inside just like lightening up, and out pops the Mandalorian, and then the guts. You know, the Sarlacc or the whatever. Could it be that is actually how what's-his-face was freed? Boba Fett was freed.
No, and I'm going to say, think of all of, if the bile that the Krait Dragon was throwing up to instantly disintegrate all those Tuskens and miners, why wouldn't it have done the same instantly to the Bantha and instantly to Mando?
Beskar armor is the answer to that.
His whole body's not.
But and that's the other question that is brought up. Why wasn't the rest of his clothing disintegrated? Because he should have been standing there naked with just the Beskar covering him. But maybe that's for.
That is what this all needs, and why there's burning in space. Suspension of disbelief.
That's true. We wrap up the episode with everyone happily living their lives. We get Cobb Vanth telling Mando to send the message back, I didn't ruin the armor, right? This is not on me. Really cool final words for the episode for Cobb Vanth. And then, the Mando and Baby Yoda drive off in the distance. And final shot of the episode, we see Tamara Morrison, who we only know is confirmed to be playing Boba Fett, because his company has confirmed it, right? I mean, it's on IMDb, but it is officially confirmed through the company that he was Boba. He's scarred. He looks like he's got a Tuscan gaffer stick and
a rifle.
And a rifle. But he's just hanging out. So there's a lot of really, I think, fun questions that his survival will now bring up. You know? The first one that comes to my mind is, how did he survive? Yeah. Was he spit out like in the old canon? Nev, you think so?
I mean, it's possible.
He was spat out. There are two old canon stories. The real one and then the joking one. The real one is that he was spat out because the Sarlacc couldn't digest his armor, so he was spat out. And the funny one is he was assisted out by Tag and Bink, who were hanging, who fell into the Sarlacc pit themselves, but they were holding onto a great big stick, and it kind of wedged on either side, so they're just like clinging on for dear life. And then when Boba falls down the pit, they grab a hold, stick their arm out and grab a hold, and they end up grabbing Boba's jetpack.
Oh.
And then, they come to an arrangement, and they use the jetpack to get them all of themselves out. But after the ship blows up and everybody flies away, because they don't want to get caught. And then there's a scene of Tag and Bink in the desert, and Boba's there, and they're all like, so we're all square then, we're all cool.
Yeah,
everybody's cool. And then so that's the comedic one. But the real one is he just gets spat out because the Sarlacc can't digest him.
All right.
That makes sense.
Hence the scars.
Yeah.
Hence the scars.
So then, how long would he have been in there?
He wasn't in there that long at all.
Okay. I mean,
he wasn't in the pit of Carcoon very long. No, he got spat out pretty shortly afterwards.
Okay.
So regurgitated.
Yeah.
Nev, I love your accent. I always hear it. I'm just like, I wish I was more like Nev.
Yes, but you cannot sound like me, good sir.
I know.
There is only one Nev, and he sounds like
British
me.
accent.
I know. You say soothing, but we all know that Nev's a villain. Because all British people are evil. I mean...
I don't know about that.
I can be evil when it's called for.
Yeah, and that's the worrisome, right? He's very genteel until he's not. And then, boom, world domination.
I will mess you up.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it for a second.
Not even a little bit. Okay, so, again... let's move on. Let's make a few predictions each as to where we think we're going to see this story go from here. Now, last season, we did talk about what was coming next.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only... I mean, Nev doesn't want spoilers, but Paul, Geek Girl, what are your thoughts?
Do you know?
Do I know? They have it listed on IMDb.
They have what listed on IMDb?
The next episode, episode 10, chapter 10, which is...
Yeah, I checked. They've only got the one chick. I forget her name.
Hold on. Because Nev doesn't want any spoilers.
It does not matter a name. Just like we had
There's
a discussion that was had on a group message board, if you will. Yeah. Even the possibility that something was there, I don't want to know.
Okay.
Okay.
Spoiler duck. But hold on. Before go ahead, Paul.
Why don't we just not talk about what's on imdb.com regarding casts?
That's fine.
Until the episode airs, I don't look at IMDb.
Okay, so then we are going to leave it off this time. That's fine.
just can't be asked with it. Like, let's just speculate ourselves.
Then
with
let's
our
do
own
that.
speculation without cheating.
Okay.
See, you want to speculate, but you want to cheat.
Of course.
I want confirmation of my
I would
speculation.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'll go last, and I will speculate more broadly where I think the story's going to go. Okay? Let's go in this order. Let's go Paul, Geeky, Nev, and then I'll finish off.
All right. For me, I honestly think that it's going to be. I think that we're going to find out what happened to Moff Gideon.
Okay.
I think we get the continuation of the Darksaber plot. With that being said, are we going to get I think we get a new character.
Okay.
I think that we get a catching back up with Kara and Grief.
That'd be cool.
And then I think that Giancarlo Esposito, or whatever his name is you have something I want.
You have
one more time.
Yeah, I can't do his voice even a little bit.
All right,
Geek Girl.
As far as specifically next episode, I think we're going to finally catch up with some Mandalorians. I have a feeling that that's where, if we see Sabine come in, that's where we're going to see her come in. And then she'll be the one to lead us to Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
If Ahsoka actually shows up, who knows at this point. And then I don't think it'll be till the very end of next episode that we see Grief and Kara, if we see them at all next episode. Because it seems like they're having to do a lot of Mandalorian lore and a lot of Mandalorian backstory in order to get things going. And I don't think we'll see the Jedi possibility until episode 3 or later.
Okay. Dev.
Yeah, I think. What was it? I think because the first act of this season is. It seems to be in tune with, he needs to find Mandalorians. He needs to find Mandalorians. So I think that what we'll probably get is, who was the Starbuck? Katie Sackhoff. Now we suspect that she has been, it was reported that she's going to be Boca Raton. So I think that it's going to be all about
confirmed?
No.
I haven't seen it confirmed.
I can't remember where I saw it, but she gave an interview saying that she'd filmed. She didn't say what character she played, but that she'd finished filming her scenes for it. And I think that she would fit the part.
There was rumors that they were in talks for that.
I don't think. I think I don't know. She could. I suppose she could do a Sabine, but I would probably think more would be a Boca Raton. But I think that she's going to be. I think that she'll be like, she'll find out that there's a Mandalorian on Tatooine, that is looking for other Mandalorians, and that a group of Mandalorians is going to find its way to Tatooine, to find out why is somebody looking for them, so that he can do that whole questing thing. To me that just makes sense, and obviously when that happens, Boba's gonna stick his head above ground because he's gonna want his armor back, and there'll be some action, some adventure. I think first 3, maybe 4 episodes, it's gonna be all about finding Mandalorians and him getting to know a little bit more about Mandalorian lore, and they're gonna be doing, because they've got to do some tweaks here and there in this show based off what Mandalorian lore has been in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. So it needs to be tweaked, and the differences between this show and previous shows needs to be explained some way. So we need some more canon Mandalorians in this show to kind of explain the differences, and we'll get some exposition out of the way, and we'll get the Boba Fett story out of the way. I don't think he's going to be in it that long. I think it's going to be more a case of fan service. He's in it for an episode or two. He gets his armor back, you know, and then we see him get onto a slave one, and boom, off he goes, and we'll be like, great. So anytime within the next 3, 4, 5, 6, doesn't matter how many seasons ahead, there's always a possibility of Boba Fett coming back.
Yep.
And that's all I think it's setting it up for. I only think that he is in it to get his armor back, so that we can see him fly off into space in Slave 5 or Slave 6 or whatever the bloody number slave is, thus setting up either a spin-off or future guest appearances by Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And then some Mandalorian backstory to kind of gel what Mandalorian lore is for this TV show, and what it, you know, mixing it into what it was for Rebels and for the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I think you're all probably right. And I think we're all probably on the same page. Nev, I think you're definitely right. I think these first few episodes are probably going to focus around him finding Mandalorians and him introducing the Mandalorian backstory, right? One of the things that we know now is Mandalorians are in hiding. We don't know if they're like the Death Watch Mandalorians or if it's all of Mandalore, right? We do know that there was a problem at the end of season 7 of Clone Wars where Mandalore, who had been neutral, had decided to be unneutral by having the Republic come in. And so did they fight against the Empire? And if they did, were they then destroyed, right? We do know that there was some definite destruction, at least of settlements, from the Separatists. But did that continue with the Empire? We don't know. But we do know Mandalorians are in hiding, but we don't know why, right? And I think you're right. I think the first couple episodes will focus on a lot of that backstory. Now, I do think we'll see Moff Gideon. We'll see the kind of the creation or the initiation of whatever that storyline is going to be. I think that it would be perfect, actually, for Cara Weathers and Gina Cara Dune and Greef Karga to be the people who receive the story. They're the ones that the Mando says, hey, you don't know my culture, let me explain it to you, aka the audience as well. And I think we might get some of that. I think the next couple of episodes will be focused entirely on introducing who the Mandalorians are. I think we could get some really big names dropped. I think if we're not introduced to Cara Dune, not Cara Dune, what's her face? Oh my gosh, Sabine Wren. If we're not introduced to Sabine Wren or Bo-Katan, I think you might be right, Geek Girl, that it might be at the end of the episode, of the next episode, we're introduced to Ahsoka. I kind of get a feeling that Boba might make a comeback somewhere in the next couple of episodes. It might just mention Ahsoka Tano. Not Ahsoka, but like the rest of the Ghost crew. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that we don't see a full like Hera Syndulla and Jason Syndulla at this point. I'm hoping we don't see that. What I'm hoping for is that we see mentions of that. You know, mentions of what's going on in the greater galaxy. You know, I thought it was really cool that they introduced the Death Star 2 blowing up and the freedom that people felt initially, and then the power vacuum, and then boom. So it would be cool to see, or just to hear a brief mention as to this is what could potentially be going on. So that's where I think that we're going to go in the first half of this. Now, I do think probably towards episode 3 through 6, we're going to get a lot more of separation, where the Mandalorian himself will be less of a focus, and Baby Yoda will be more of the focus. And then we'll see some of those characters that have been hinted at being I don't know, being followed a bit more, much like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Or Dave Filoni said something to the effect that he loves the storyline or the way they told stories in Game of Thrones, which followed different story arcs. So I think that's what we're going to start seeing here in the next little bit. So, well, this has been episode 1.
We didn't give our ratings.
Oh, ratings.
I was gonna say, I had a quick thought.
Hit me
to kind of expand on what you're talking about. So I think they're going to start. So they've said in multiple interviews that they're going to use these as ways to kind of backdoor them into the live action universe. It's not going to be, every character. Like, we're gonna get Ahsoka. Ahsoka's going to be established, but we're not necessarily going to get everybody else. I think characters like Hera and Boba Fett and stuff like that are going to be very kind of like fan service. Like, here's them for an episode or two, and then they're off to do whatever the heck they're gonna go do.
Yeah, and that's why I hope they just mention the Ghost crew and not actually, or maybe even just show the Ghost as like Sabine is boarding it. Nothing big, you know.
You could even like use Sabine to be that go-between between Ahsoka and Mando, or Bo-Katan and the Mando. Be that kind of introduction person.
Yeah.
Because she plays in all of those worlds fairly easily, and she already knows people like Bo-Katan and stuff like that. So, and she comes from Death Watch.
Yeah.
So there is that kind of established history that can very easily be used to make all these connections without having to do 10 million hours of backstory.
Agreed.
And the armor, we believe, as we said, could have been from Death Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, very easily.
Now, I've got to say this because I'm looking at IMDb, and this isn't spoiler. This isn't spoiler. Okay? There is so we all believe that Sabine Wren is possibly in the show, right?
Yeah.
And we believe that Sasha Banks is probably playing her. Or at least that's the hint at, right? What if, instead of it being Sabine Wren, it's Dr. Aphra?
Okay. Interesting point.
So, I'm looking at this picture of Sasha Banks because they still have not said...
We did talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking at this picture of Sasha Banks, okay? And I'll bring it up just real quick.
Here.
I'm looking at this just feels very Aphra. I mean, doesn't it? Like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, she has a history of. She comes from WWE, so it would make sense that she would be someone that was kind of physical.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's when they cast Gina Carano for it's like, oh, brilliant! Thank God for that. It's a woman we know is going to kick some serious ass.
Yeah.
And they've got a female action star. It's like if you wanted a martial artist in the 80s, you hired Cynthia Rothrock because you wanted a convincing female actress that knew how to kick ass.
Yeah.
Which is why Gina
Carano
worked.
Having Ronda Rousey and stuff like that in the Fast and Furious series. It adds a level of authenticity.
It adds authenticity to it because you believe they are capable of kicking ass because we've seen them kicking ass.
Yeah.
This is not like putting Kirsten Stewart in Charlie's Angels and expecting people to believe that a 5'1", 100-pound nothing is going to master arts and destroy 6-foot-tall men with guns. It's like, no, just no.
Even as a viable love interest for a shiny vampire, still didn't believe it.
No.
I couldn't even get through the second movie. I tried.
Oh, I watched them to make fun of them. They're so much fun.
I tried to watch the movies with riff tracks, and still I couldn't get through the movies.
It's tough.
Yeah, no,
it's tough.
Sasha Banks, she knows how to handle herself.
Yep.
So we know she's got the necessary stunt training.
Yep.
So it's just like Gina. No stunt double required.
Yeah.
Action shots, fight scenes, are going to be authentic. They're going to be convincing. So having her as a more older, more mature Sabine Wren would make sense.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same with Katie Sackhoff as hopefully as Bo Katan. We know that she has the experience and that authenticity as an action movie star that required some ass kicking. So
well,
I like the,
yeah. And I think whoever she plays is going to be awesome. But here's my thought here. I've been suspecting and I've been thinking that Sasha Banks, whoever she plays, and if she plays, I've been under the auspice that she's going to be Sabine Wren. And she's going to connect Mando to other Mandalorians. But we have a major thing here where she could be connected to Moff Gideon.
Yeah, that's possible.
And if she's connected to Moff Gideon, he would need someone who's familiar with the underworld, someone who's familiar with, that whole side of things. And Dr. Aphra would be awesome to introduce. I have no idea, right? I would love Sabine. I think Sabine, and I hope that it is Sabine. I do.
Yeah, we know she can pull purple and blue hair off as well. She's like, yeah, sure, dye my hair. I don't care.
I got it.
And other actresses would be like, no, give me a wig.
Yeah, and so like I'm hoping for Sabine, but I was just looking at this picture. I was like, she could pull off freaking Dr. Aphra.
I don't think we would see Sabine until the end of the season, though, because I don't think we're going to see Ahsoka until the end of the season. And we know that they're an all-in-one package. They're going to come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably true. So, all right, final ratings. We'll go in reverse order. Nev first, Geek Girl, and then Paul, then myself. Out of 5, Beskar. Thank you, Beskar. Beskar is a game that's played. Actually, not a game. It's like a fried chicken on Bespin. It's very crispy, delicious. Out of 5 Beskar pieces, Nev, what would you give this episode?
It only gets a 4.5 from me. I'm taking away 0.5 for the lackadaisy way they went with the Krait Dragon.
Okay. Geek Girl.
I'm gonna have to do a 4.
Okay.
For me, there were some pacing issues. There wasn't really enough of a setup for the rest of the season for my taste, because that's basically what you have to do for the first episode. You really have to start establishing storylines right from the get-go. Otherwise, you're just gonna waste valuable time down the road.
Okay. Paul.
I was extremely impressed. I absolutely give it 5 out of 5 Beskar. I enjoyed it, even though it was Star Wars meets Tremors. It to me it felt good to watch. I enjoyed myself.
All right.
I have no complaints, and even the CG really worked for me. So,
I gotta say, I'm gonna give this a 4, only because I wanted more of a wow factor. And Nev, you felt like you had it. I just didn't feel it. I didn't get those. I didn't giggle uncontrollably. Right when we saw Boba at the end, I was like, all right. I assumed he was coming, and so it wasn't there for me. It was a great episode. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was everything that I want in this series, but it just didn't have that wow factor that I was expecting at the very end. So, yeah.
This reminded me a lot of their marketing campaign. It was still kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool, but nothing that hit me in the gut going, oh my God, I can't wait for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That bringing up the marketing campaign, we haven't seen anything new. I mean,
yeah,
the major shots of the trailers that we've seen so far have all been from this episode. So
from the beginning of the episode.
So I feel like there's a lot in store, and I'm very excited for that. All right, so let's Geek Girl, you are our newest. So where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch at GeekGirl1980, or in one of the 10 million Discord servers that I'm in.
He's kind of like Toyota.
Yeah, kinda. Discord is the easiest way for me to keep up with things. I really don't like social media, so I don't really put any effort into it. But yeah, not streaming until Thursday this week because GAC is not going, and I'm trying to get stuff done for the podcast. So.
And what podcast? What podcast are you working on?
So it's the Bounty Honeys podcast, done by a brilliant slip of the tongue from Krait Gaming. When we broke her with her first hype train, she called Bounty Hunters Bounty Honeys, and we kind of ran with it. It's going to be myself, the Llama, Mrs. Anthony, and Krait Gaming. We're hoping to launch in December, hopefully, and it's going to be everything Star Wars. Plus, we're gonna have
everything nerdy.
Oh.
Well, we're gonna have at the end for a fourth segment. We're gonna have if you have so many channel points, you can pick a nerdy or geeky thing for us to try for the following week.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's the plan. It's a lot
Nev,
of pre-production.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to keep us updated and when that launches. So Nev. Where can we find you?
Same place you can find Paul, Escape Pod. Cast, doing GACs or doing Dear Jojo Fets or doing GA Center or doing the Escape Podcast or doing all sorts or doing the Nev After Dark.
After Dark.
Yeah. Just lots. I just do all sorts of stuff. I'm for all intents and purposes a default full-time streamer because I'm effectively on every single night now, doing something. I'm effectively doing something every single day now. So just tune into the channel and you'll find me doing something. Wow.
Awesome.
I actually kind of liked it with the J.
After Dark. Paul, finish us off.
So you do find me as well on twitch.tv/escape podcast. I will be doing the Jackbox nights. I'll be hosting that tomorrow night or Monday night if you're not watching this live or right away. And then I'll pop in and play. We got two of our Patreons that were like, yeah, we should play more Star Wars Old Republic, because I played a little bit of it today because that's what I did to relax, and now they want to play it more.
It's a great game.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. But nonetheless, keep an eye out. Support Neil in his streams is what I ask right now. And if you see me on, any bits or anything goes towards Christmas gifts for the castaways.
There you go. So,
but yeah, I mean, I constantly remind people to take care of those that they love, wear a mask, and since this is before Tuesday right now, go vote when you can, and be nice to each other, damn it, and remember to smile.
And stay nerdy. Ta-ta. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are out. So you guys have a great day.
Doesn't sound. It just don't say that. It just doesn't sound right when you say it.
I'm sorry. Ta-ta for now.
Okay. Just
okay.
Just don't.
Okay.
Just don't.
Well, I'm gonna hit the end stream now, Nev.
Ta-ta for now, folks.
Easy.